he was a Roman first.
Poetry transcends nationality. He was a poet before he was a Roman. Queen Dido of Carthage?
It is I, Queen Dido of Carthage, from the underworld. I am here to clear my name. All throughout Virgil's epic, I was the unlucky Dido. What scenes of despair and shame the poet portrayed me in. Had I not set my face to recount my tale, the Roman readers and lectors of the Aeneid for thousands of years to come would have an unfinished story of the passion of the queen. I had a life, a successful life, before Aeneas came ashore of my heart and broke in.
Virgil told your story. He recalled everything in a way so the reader would have compassion for you as a wife, dutiful to her husband.
Oh Jupiter, oh misery! Will this listener believe that Virgil told my story in a right way? Will he have lost my kingdom, stranger that he is? Let me begin by giving the proper introduction that Virgil cast aside in my story, starting with my genealogy. I am Elisa, granddaughter of Belisar II, daughter of Belus, the king of the Tyre in Phoenicia, and sister of Pygmalion. I had a life, a successful and honorable life, before Aeneas came ashore of my heart and broke in. Virgil is a Roman first. Do you not see how he uses language to disparage my passion? By saying, this queen, far gone and ill, unlucky Dido, burning in her madness. As he describes me, desperately and madly in love, this advocate for the Roman Empire forgets to mention the plethora of suitors whom I turned down as a pious and truthful woman to her husband. I did not give up on my marriage as easily as a page turns, nor did I abandon the thought of my spouse as quickly as Aeneas forgot Carusa. Virgil started book 4 of his epic on me, burning from within. He said, Dido in love, Dido consumed with passion to her core. This fire that led me to my destruction was caused by one person only, Aeneas. Aeneas left his burnt Troy and perpetrated that same destruction in my heart and in my city. I was queen. My citizens loved me. I had built a magnificent empire, a kingdom that even Aeneas was in awe of. And now he was tearing it all down from within. Like the Trojan horse, he cut the unbreachable doors of my heart open. This divided and destroyed me and my people. As Virgil says, in no time at all, through all the African cities, rumor went. The rumors and unrest soiled my Carthage's reputation, and I was not mad, but merely pious to my city when I cursed Aeneas and you, his people. Virgil made it appear as if this rage to act came from within, but in fact the gods instilled it in me. This is why I can surely say that Virgil, the infamous Roman poet, is in fact a Roman first. In the underworld, when we meet again, he describes Aeneas as void of any responsibility, as if the entirety of my dilemma was all a misunderstanding on my part, instead of a divisive orchestration from Juno and Venus. Although Virgil creates a certain sympathy for me, he also admonishes me in order to protect Aeneas' morals when he claims that I fabricated Aeneas and I's marriage. He says, she thought no longer a secret love, but called it marriage. Thus, under that name, she hid her fault. I was not the one at fault. Our marriage was ordained by the gods. From a respectable queen, I was compared to an inflamed city hit by the arrow of Cupid. But you Dardans would love to believe that this female, non-Roman, is irrational and animal-like. From the leader of a great nation, I'm reduced to a mindless dictator who stopped investing in her country for the sake of restless love. My description as lacking rational agency justifies the war Romans waged against my beloved Carthage. It justifies how they acquired and expanded their fatherland. You were at fault, but unwilling to admit it.
What abomination! Was Aeneas not the one who showed you mercy? He was unaware of your folly and lethal plans. Why beset the father of Rome with such accusations? We are a family-driven and pious people, unlike you Phoenicians.
I rebuked the affirmation that Aeneas was unconscious, that I projected to do away with my life. I told him repeatedly, and the gods even warned him in advance, but he left in spite of all of this. By leaving despite my great distress and the gods' scheme, he showed his disregard for my life. Romans may have seen me as rejecting one of their core values of family by keeping Aeneas from his God-given destiny, but I was merely speaking under the spell of anger and unconscionable love. Although Romans often believe they are the only civilized and chosen people, faith and family are also the core of Phoenician values. Although Virgil praised me for staying true to my husband, he did not explain how much harder this was because my own brother, Pygmalion, perpetrated this murder.
This is outrageous. You are unworthy of my oratory skills.
Then be gone. I will finally be able to finish my speech. To return to my demonstration of piety, I told Aeneas that I would not imprison him or keep him off of his course. I was ready to let Aeneas' duty and piety lead him, but as for my personal faith, I felt as if the gods had failed me. Venus, Jupiter, Mercury, and Juno's fierceness in my case made me forever heartsick at the mere sight of heaven. They meant for my life to be lonely, and for all attempts at love to either remain barren or fail completely. So, unaccompanied I remained, with Aeneas running from me, my dear husband calling me from the underworld, and no child to keep me grounded. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, and ponderous indeed is my head. However, it has never been in my nature to give up so easily. I am a foreigner to defeat, and I refuse to feel so utterly vanquished, so utterly bereft by Aeneas. I thought of all the alternatives to this fatal end, marrying my old suitors, I thought of following the Ilian ship. After a life filled with such ailment, I thought maybe this was a sign to let go and rest. I had a duty as a queen, and if this duty was not brought about, I was no longer deserving to live. So I gave myself away for my kingdom, for my sister, for Rome. I did what was best not for me, but for everyone else. Instead of letting Anna share my dutiful burden, I covered up my realization that Jove's kingdom no longer needed me. I had come to terms with that, but my sister would not have, so I lied to her to protect her. I am, in effect, more similar to Aeneas than Virgil let on, because even as troubles and death and fatal madness were calling me, I covered up with a calm look as to not alarm my dear sister. So now, Cassius, I hope you fully comprehend how much Virgil was actually a Roman first, and how I am merely a pious and virtuous woman. Thank you for listening.